Hello, my name is Catherine Lewis. I'm a student on Textiles 3. This is my personal specialism evaluation. During my personal specialism, I've been on a steep learning curve. At times I've felt overwhelmed and not sure what I wanted to achieve. Early on in my work, I focused on objects, and these had a detachment which, reflecting back, I can see was gradually broken down. After a competition exercise in the research module, I realised that I wanted to interpret feelings and emotions through art, which was something quite new in my work. Looking back, I can see what a closed bubble I was working in. Whilst I was researching other artists, there wasn't a connection between what I was looking at and what I was moving on with my own work. Constructing the proposal in assignment 2 really helped me to focus on the subject matter. My work at the time was subversive and passionate, but it was still lacking cohesion. I was flitting from one technique to another, letting the materials run away with themselves and creating pieces that were just too obscure to get any message across. Weaving and crocheting gave me more comfort at a difficult time in my life when my mother was dying, but didn't actually allow my message or emotions to come through in my work. During research for my critical review, to what extent does art break down taboos? I started to understand how I wanted to progress in my own work. I found inspiration in artists such as Faith Ringgold, Judy Chicago, and Tracy Emin. All these practitioners chose to discuss subjects that were very personal to them and delivered outcomes in very different, passionate, and thought-provoking ways. This slide shows how I focused in on my self-portraiture. My idea really was to look at how I was feeling and how I was portraying myself to the world. An expression of hot flushes and night sweats through self-portraiture was a really useful tool in allowing me to open up to myself about how I was feeling. I studied how I thought I looked to other people after lack of sleep and tiredness of the hot flushes and night sweats. The mixtures of emotions that were mulling through my mind in the middle of the night and the despair of trying to look normal. I felt my subject matter had to be first-hand experience. This would give me more confidence as a textile artist. However, it was still a very big challenge to use my own emotions, physicality, and symptoms in my work. The best way to do this was to approach my sketchbooks as a diary, where I could feel free to say and feel whatever I wanted. This was my safe haven, and gradually I did start to express myself through imagery. Once my work became more personal, it became stronger and more focused. I wanted to create textile art which people could resonate with. My imagery started to develop a more fluid line and allowed me to experiment with loose threads and stitches to create textile pieces. The idea of chaos in the menopause was interesting to me, so I looked how I could reflect this within my work. So by turning the back of the stitching to the front and leaving loose threads, it represented a rawness of feeling and the chaos came through. Making a coverlet as my final piece fitted in perfectly with the subject matter. The domestic aspect of a coverlet of everyday life and the symptoms that women were feeling regularly are bound up in its materials. Coverlets have been used for centuries to convey messages and narratives. My individual pieces were bonded together in my coverlet to bring a more cohesive meaning. I created a coverlet, not a quilt, as it doesn't contain any wadding. I wanted to keep the piece as lightweight as possible to consider somebody having night sweats. The back of the coverlet is intentionally blank to keep the focus on the front and not dilute the message. I took the plunge to see reaction to my work by uploading it to the Menopause Cafe Facebook site. I had joined this Facebook site a few years ago, and actually when lockdown came, I did attend some of their meetings. So the reaction to the upload was really, really positive. I've taken screenshots and have uploaded them elsewhere on my blog, but I was invited to display the coverlet at Flushfest in 2021 in Scotland. And I'm also considering discussing collaborations with them on further pieces of work in the future. I've delved into my own emotions and portrayed them to other people in a way I've never done before in this project. I've engaged others' opinions of my work through surveys and feedbacks and on social media. And when I started this work, I had no idea where I would develop my textiles. And now when I reach for a pen or a thread, I feel very excited about the next stage. It feels as though this is just the start of my work and not the finish. Thank you very much.